What up, man? That's exactly what it says. The Great Expound, dig into China. We're gonna talk about a couple things. You know, uh, first I'm gonna put this little link right here. Oh, it's just gonna fit just right there. Okay. I want this to sound. It's gonna sound astute no matter what because I'm gonna project this a certain way. But I want people to really get what I'm talking about. So, who all remembers being a child? And whether you were at school or whether you were watching TV and they would have the little character or your teacher would tell you that if they dug through the earth enough, they could dig all the way over to China because it's a circle, right? And so that link right there, that MSN link, and I'm just going to read the headline. I want y'all to go read it yourself. It says, America hits debt limit, debt limit. Oh my goodness. Got a hair or something there. America hits debt limit, raising economic fears. Eyelash or some shit. 1 second. Now, we're just going to get right to the nitty gritty. The milestone of reaching 31.4 trillion debt cap is a product of decades of tax cuts and increased government spending by both Republicans and Democrats. Stop. That's the part I wanted to read. Now, anybody with a working operating mind, $31.4 trillion is a lot of money. Now, the reason why this is called Dig into China, I was going to drop this like a day and a half ago, 2 days ago. This article is from yesterday. And I'm glad I sat and I waited because then it percolated like this. Do y'all realize that just once again, just like I said, waking up is not a moral victory. Why aren't they digging to China? Fuck, I'll pay somebody to start digging to China right now. We'll call the municipality to get all the okays to dig, 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 and dig. I'll pay them for it. See, unlike them, I don't believe that the earth is round. So I would never waste my time with such a fruitless endeavor. However, if I were to be a person who was like, let me just play the thinker's advocate, okay? The theorist advocate. There's no need to play the advocate of the devil if there's people who are just theorizing and they're thinking, okay, they think the earth is built and structured a certain way. $31.4 trillion later, your government hasn't proved that. Think about this for half a moment. They should have been trying to do that shit the whole time. They had slaves for free. If Columbus really came here to prove the earth was a circle, when they got here, why didn't they just dig their way over there? They wouldn't have had to do it. They had free labor to do it. I just need y'all to understand the concepts that these guys will try to put into your minds. They got movies called Digging to China. You know how they are. They can't help themselves. They're facetious. Having said that, when's the last time that you even heard about a project like that? And don't you think that if that was really possible, no nation would ever, I mean, like the idea of going to war when you could essentially build mechanisms that could send bombs from one place to the other and never having ever set foot on the land, never having sailed a ship, never having put a tank there, nothing, flew no planes, nothing. I just think it's kind of awkward. And people think I'm tripping or think I'm crazy or whatever, whatever. But I'm like, really, explain it though. Don't tell me about the water. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. It's a circle. So don't tell me about water. I don't want to hear that. If they were supposed to dig from one spot in China, and this bitch is a circle, let's say they start in San Francisco, and they end up in China, somewhere, I don't know, Xinjiang province or something like that, right on? You know what I'm saying? Okay. Hubei, okay? They end up over there in Wuhan somewhere with little scrappy, right? Crying in the cages and shit. Okay, let me know. Because I wants to know. And I'm insulted and I'm flabbergasted. I'm awe-stricken. Okay. I'm befuddled. I am. I am. I really am just at a loss for words at how people could look at something like $31.4 trillion, and the first thing that doesn't come to their mind is like, why haven't they dug the China? Huh? Why haven't they been to the bottom of the ocean? That's why this is a part one, because we're gonna get to that. That's why I said the water don't matter. If they're smart enough that they can get off the planet, get into a spaceship, and so-called send things to Mars, and you're telling me that these dudes don't have the ability to you know to go all the way to the bottom of the water, or just to dig into the earth without tearing everything up? I don't get it. I don't want to hear about plate tectonics. I don't want to hear that. I really don't, because they have underground uh fortresses and the likes all over the earth. There are caves and caverns. If y'all don't believe, Google underground caves. They're some of the most beautiful things you'll ever see. Some of them are immaculate, full of splendor. They're opulent, all that good stuff. Magnifico, right? So if it's like that, you have to wonder who took their time to do this, because some of it looks like it was done intentionally. But I'm still talking about digging to China, and I'm like, yo, how y'all ain't did that yet? Okay, you done blew your load and screwed off 31.4 trillion, and we ain't dug to China. There shouldn't even be talks about nuclear war. It should be like, man, we'll pop up. Like literally, we'll just pop up out of nowhere, like in the supermarket, at the middle of the ground, like troops and everything. Huh? Nope. Because these guys ain't, they're not on the, they're not being honest. Now, once again, I'm playing the advocate of a thinker. If they think the world is a circle, a sphere, oblong, that has, so once again, where's my, where's my handy dandy? You know what? Look, I have something for you. You see this little globe right here? It's an ashtray, but look, you see that? That's what they think that the earth looks like. That's how they think the earth is built. That's what they believe. I'm saying that if there's dirt and all this other stuff, imagine this is, you know, and the craziest part is that if you look at it, it's still on a flat surface and plane at the bottom. It's not all rounded out, but that's the concept they want us to believe. They want us to think that we're on that sort of a sphere. So if that's the case, you technically, hypothetically, you should be able to dig from one side to the other. Right. They're like, what about the hot magma core? What about it? These guys already conquered space. Conquering the magma core should be nothing. See, I'm gonna throw everything at you. Thank you. Don't tell me that the two things have no relation. So you're telling me that they can create things that can survive sub Fahrenheit, sub degree, whatever temperatures, right? It's not warm at all. It's all the way cold out there in so-called outer space. Based on what they say. That's what those suits are made for. All those things. Right. So I'm trying to figure out how you guys can conquer getting off the earth, but can't conquer being on the earth. And on top of that, there's a receipt to boot that says that y'all done spent enough money to have done that. A third of this money would have got them to China. Yes. 10 point, what is that? 10.8, 10.8 trillion? Yeah, that sounds about right. 10.8 trillion? Yeah. That would have dug them to China, for sure. If you're telling me that, listen, we don't even have dugout stations like that from here in the U.S. And they're talking about they can dig to China. They put that shit in the cartoons. I didn't put it there. Once again, y'all are telling me, Meech, well, that's make believes. But everything in a cartoon ain't make believe. They got real life concepts of cars and people paying bills and living in homes and real life hobos. I need y'all to understand hobos getting on the train with the little knapsack with the stick and the knapsack on the end, right? Full of their belongings or whatever it is that that they can carry. Check me out. How do you have that concept? And then all that's real life. But then they'll throw in something like digging to China, but they've been telling you that the world is a circle. So either you can dig to China or you can't. And I'm like sticking to my guns on this shit, man. I'm like, nah, man, they talking that bullshit. I ain't got no real guns right now because I don't want to get arrested. So don't let the YouTube algorithm try to get me reported to motherfucking SPD or some shit like that. But real life though, because this ain't gonna be a long hit piece. This is once again, this is part one or part two or part three. I don't know how many parts it's gonna be, but this is for sure the first part just to just explain. And the basis is all that money that you guys are seeing right there. Now I need you guys to get this. They can say whatever. None of that money, none of that money was designated to doing any sort of research, any sort of actual, true, literal studies to see about the trauma and the impact that forget just slavery, right? But Jim Crow and the fact that people are coming out of generations of destitution that was created by the government. And when they express and explain that, they're saying that people are telling them that they have a victimhood mentality. While in the same breath will tell you that individuals who you can't verify or vindicate all their claims will say that a maniac tried to kill them all to the man, and yet they don't have a victimhood mentality while they receive billions of dollars of aid of taxpayer money every year and have been for umpteen years. Right. So one individual is a victim and they have a victim mentality, and the other one we're supposed to act like like they triumph somehow, but everything that they have was given to them. I'm trying to figure that out. And I'm not taking shots at nobody. Y'all figure out who I'm talking about right now. But I'm just saying though, if you're gonna tell me that, well, we can't do anything about slavery because you never owned any slaves. That's right, but I never owned any either. But since I'm going to capitulate that you never owned any slaves, let's talk about the fact that you've benefited directly, not just from slavery itself, but the aftermath of slavery. All the low-end labor, all the high-end low-wage labor that people were able to get, okay, off of a certain shoulders of people, and then able to discard them at will and act like they never did nothing wrong. Their grandfathers and their grandmothers told them these kind of stories, and these people to this day will act like, well, that's okay. But in reality and actuality, it's not okay. It's wrong. But they'll say that they never owned any slaves. But it's like, well, have you ever been in a situation where you took advantage of a black person? And you knew that you were taking advantage of somebody who you knew society had already deemed lesser than and has already had lesser than everybody else. You know what I'm saying? Like, do they willfully admit that? Do they come out and say those types of things? No. Do they say, I've benefited off of being around them? No. This is why it's difficult for me to say these types of things like digging to China. Because you have people who will be like, man, this nigga sound like a victim right now. But really, I don't sound like a victim. Nor do I sound defeated. I'm just saying I sound aggravated by the idea that we have people who will try to tell me, hey, Meech, the earth is a circle. There's 365 days in the year. But yet, when we go back and we do the real math, the math don't add up. In a circle, there's only 360 degrees. Right. In a square or even a rectangle, There's 360 degrees because of the angle of the corners are 90 degrees each, and then each corner being in like a representation of a season or intercalary day is 364 days. Now, which one is closer to 365? Again, my people. Right. But yet I'm forced to contend with these types of things and act like it's normal when I hear it. I'm supposed to act like that's regular when I hear it. That's not regular. That's not normal. And it's not okay. I know it's not okay. People want me and you to think it's okay, but I know for a fact it's not. Do y'all remember that game when we were real little? Some of y'all probably played it, some of y'all probably didn't. But it was like a game where you took two pencils, right? And you would pull your pencil back and you would just let it, go onto your opponent's pencil, and you would try to hit it and break it down somewhere where you break the pencil. Now, what I find amazing is that as simple as a physics as that is, the game is a loaded game if you have a certain kind of pencil. You get what I'm saying? So like when I was a boy, for Christmas, we would order pencils. We would not order, but I would go into the store and I would see a pencil that might be like this thick around. Word, but it's like this long. You know what I mean? So I can get some real leverage on that joint. And now I'm in there breaking everybody's because tearing them up. So much so that the teachers make us stop playing games like that because ain't nobody got a whole pencil. So anyway, stuff like that. But it's a rigged game. If I have a certain thing that you don't have, I can always defeat you. Okay. Now, once you get the same thing and we can battle on the same level or plane, atmosphere, stratosphere, whatever you have, echelon, now we're talking about you probably don't see it the same way I see it. You might say, okay, neither one of us is going to win this battle right now, but I'm damn sure not going to let them break my shit without theirs getting broken or without theirs being highly damaged. And I'm talking about ideas right now when I talk about this game, right? So if one person, I'm not saying has a greater idea, but they have access to information that somebody else doesn't have, no matter what, you're always going to win that exchange. So I don't expect anybody to step up and win that exchange with me because that's base level logic. My phone at. So I can't show you right here on my phone, but I have it on my phone. I'm just gonna pull up the little clip to the video. So I don't want it to get all messed up. Start acting funny. 1 second. So, and this is going to be on my next little joint. And that right there is the full moon from earlier this month. And it seems like the days are going down. I can't prove it. I have to wait till next month to see what day the full moon comes on. And these are the types of swings of things that I'm talking about. Other people don't even pay attention to it. What is there to talk about with them? They're illogical individuals. By my birth certificate, I was born on a Monday, but my birthday last week was celebrated so-called on a Saturday. Now people are like, "Oh, Meech, what's wrong with that?" Because I was supposed to have been born on Monday, y'all. And like the rest of you, my birthday has fallen on different days of the week throughout the years. That can't be my birthday. The day that I was born is the day that it should correspond to every single year. Once again, I'm the only person to come out and just say it like that. And if you don't believe me, start digging to China, nigga. Okay? Because I'm tired of all the retardation. You got to be slow. That's the only logical explanation to that. And I accept if somebody's a little slow. What I don't accept is that if they're slow, they know they're slow, but they want to be in the fast lane. I'm not feeling that. And I'm not talking about living fast. I'm talking about how quick you have to be up here. You know, people don't appreciate nothing. They don't have to though. They don't have to. They don't have to. They don't have to make those sacrifices that another person would have to make, or is requisite for another person to make in that same or similar situation, because they are they're resting on their laurels in so many ways. There's a lot of people that are veterans, right? That go to the VA, and I'm gonna not say take advantage of the VA, but there's somebody else that actually needs that help, and they're there absorbing all those resources. When there's another person who's in, a similar situation where they actually need the help, but this person's situation, their circumstance is way different. Yeah, you both just broke your leg, but this guy lives in a house. This guy lives on the streets. Like, it's a major difference. It's a major difference. And I can even say that the only similar thing about their circumstance is that the guy that's living on the streets, he's 100% disability, right? So he's 100% veteran. So you know what I'm saying? He gets all that check, but he's living on the streets. Now people don't know that he got a bank account and all that stuff and la di da, and this is why they see him clean up from time to time. And they be like, damn, put on some nice clothes, cut his hair and shaved and all that stuff. Right. What they call cleaning up in this society. What the most I got would consider getting dirty. Anyway, yeah, shaving your hair and shaving your beard is an unclean thing based on the laws of Moses. I don't care what Paul tells you. Paul ain't Moses. They're not called the laws of Paul. They're called the laws of Moses. Get with it or get lost. Dig your ass to China too. And like I was saying, is that when the veteran who's on the streets gets right and looks right, the people don't know this dude's going to go check up on his money. But he's not in the situation that this other guy's in. This other guy got out. Uh, Family was able to get him a job right away. He met Susie Q. They settled down. They had a couple children. The children are productive members of society, whatever that's supposed to mean. Uh, while I'm gonna say Joe Snuffy, who's on the streets, right? He got out. He was already married when he was in, got divorced, and he just kind of never really, rebounded from that. So now he living on the streets, and it's tough. I'm not making excuses for Joe Snuffy. I'm saying that his circumstances are different. So you have to treat that differently. But you have people that are willing to absorb all the resources, word, and then use them in ways that, right. Now we'll never know if Joe Snuffy was going to actually become somebody else different, because they try to say that it's never too late. They'll go out of the way to save a dog. They'll go out of the way to save an animal that can't even, like, it can't go out and make real money unless it's trained to do something. You know what I mean? So it realistically is a mooch, but you like that mooch. You adopted them and you accept that, but they're forever dependent on you. Right. So it's not even the same. You have people who don't understand that concept. Back to digging to China. These guys don't get it. They wasted $31.4 trillion on endeavors that that they were telling the people were worthy or were worth doing this and worth doing that. Trillions of dollars wasted in Afghanistan. Trillions of dollars wasted in Iraq. Now, unless you believe that they were actually still fighting a crusade, then it makes sense. But still, why didn't y'all just dig to China? Why didn't y'all just dig to China and then just surprise these dudes? Like, I'm trying to figure out why I'm the only person who questions these concepts that they put forth. And it seems as if they think I'm crazy, but think about it. Like I said, is anti-Semitism anti-Semitism? So they took one family, as defined in the scripture, the smallest family of these particular people, and made them the entire group of where in which they seed from, of their ultimate progenitor, who is called Sem, who comes from Noah, okay, who comes from Enoch, who comes from Seth. I don't want to get carried away. All these men, right on. Enoch comes from Seth, I mean, but you guys get what I'm talking about. Jared is the name of Enoch's father. But still, the point being, I'm getting at that they all come from Adam ultimately, but still, Sem is the progenitor of the Semites. That being said, they took one group, they took the smallest people of one group and made them the entire face of an entire bloodline of peoples. And that's not anti Semitic to all the other Semites. I'm just trying to like make it make sense. I'm trying to understand how other people see the situation and why I can't see it like that. Right. Back to a victimhood mentality since we're talking about, you know, the anti-Semite uh, concept. Don't you think that it's time that people tell them that, hey, man, I don't want to see another movie about the Holocaust? You guys are stuck in a victimhood mentality. It's one moment in history. Let it go. Let it go. Lig. Right. They didn't have nuclear bombs during the Civil War. God only knows what these white folks would have done to one another. God only knows. And people be talking, wild, reckless, and crazy to me, but it's like, look, I'm coming with a legitimate concept. Can you dig to China or not? If you can't, why is that even put out there? Like, don't tell me about the magma core of the earth. I don't want to hear about that. Okay? I just don't. Because y'all get down into the water in submarines and go as far down as you can go. All right. You ain't worried about no water when you down there. So I don't want to hear that bullshit. Okay? I don't want to hear none of that. These guys are like, oh, if those creatures who were way down at the bottom of the deep came up here, they would die. No, they wouldn't. I don't believe that. I believe that some of them are so massive and so gigantic, they have to be at those parts of the depths close to the abyss. Right. They have to be. They don't have a choice. But you wouldn't technically have to get close to the center of the earth. You could just dig all the way around on the crust. Based on their science, you don't ever have to touch the magma. Right. Thank you. They're like, Meech, what about the water? What about it? It's a circle. Just dig right through a straight line. Should take you somewhere, right? But let me also play the other thinker's advocate. If and only if the earth is not a big ass orb and you can't dig to China, and all you can dig is to caverns within the middle of the earth and parts that look like massive abysses. Yes, they've come across those types of things. I showed you on that one video. I forgot what country it's in. It's over there in Iraq, Afghanistan, somewhere where they got it's a big ass hole in the ground, and they say don't nobody go up in there. Animals get close and die, all kinds of shit. Don't nobody go up in there. Right. There's some demonic shit going on over there, yo. Demonic. Demonic. Yep. They want me to think that niggas can dig to China when there's motherfuckers who are in spots in other countries that people don't even go around. Why do you think they don't want you to be digging and shit? Like they say it's illegal because you could, strike a gas line or something like that and, possibly cause a major explosion. There's for those people that live in the rural countryside, that doesn't apply to them like that. It just doesn't. And this is why I push back on all that. Nobody's ever tried to. These rednecks ain't never tried to dig to China. All that time they got on their hands. Right. Who would know? You in the middle of nowhere, dude. Dig to anywhere. It ain't even gotta be, but dig to somewhere. But I'm saying dig into China because that was always the spot. There was an episode of Ed, Ed, and Eddie. I'll never forget it. My dude Johnny 2 by 4 is digging with plank. He's digging, 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 digging. All of a sudden he digs up. He's like, boop. And he's all of a sudden he's in China, right? And he's looking around. He's rattled though. He's hella rattled. He's like, what? How did we get all the way here? Right? I forget exactly what he said, but he was shook. Now check this out. They want you and me to watch that and understand that the whole premise of the entire show of Ed, Ed, and Eddie was about jawbreakers, was about them trying to rustle up some money so they could satisfy their sweet tooth. The funniest part about that is why put something fake in there if that's what you believe? Once again, my point being this, they show us the earth is a circle all the time, right? So if they believe that the earth is a circle, to them, that's real. My question is why has nobody done it? I'm not saying nothing crazy. I ain't got beside myself or nothing. I'm asking a real life question that deserves a real life answer. Because if I told you guys that they've made movies about the edge of the earth, right? But those movies go against a round earth concept. Hmm. See how that works? So you can't make movies like that. Hmm. Pirates of the Caribbean, you know, the edge of the world or whatever, right? Yep. If you're living on a big ass bubble circle, how is that possible? That movie right there is a flat earth movie. Hmm. But people don't want to hear that. You know why? Because that goes against everything that they believe. You know, like why would Disney put a flat earth concept in a movie? Easy. One, because Disney believes in being a thinker's advocate, being a thought advocate. Okay. Just because I don't personally believe this thing doesn't mean that I can't, I won't even say entertain. It doesn't mean that I can't explore the idea of what it is. And if along the way I come to certain conclusions that, hey, maybe the discrepancies that I believed existed were based on preconceived notions that I had created for myself that I allowed for other people to put into my mind. So for there to be an edge of the once again, if the earth is shaped like this, like a big old bubble, right? Where's the edge at? You could say, but like technically it's rounded. So there that's not an edge, right on? An edge is defined because it has a side or a face, like a flattened face. That's what makes it an edge. This is a recharger, right? See how this has an edge right here? Even this has an edge because it flattens out to the face, even though it's rounded. See the point that I'm trying to make here, y'all? So being rounded and being circular are not the same. And just so that way we have a visual comparison. Look at the point that I'm making from one to one. Excuse me. Bang. See what I mean? You have this one, which is a complete circle, and then this one that's just a rounded square. Now, even if you want to contend that the earth was a rounded square would still have this has corners. I can define these corners. Right on. I can look at it, I can show you it. It's a rectangle. It has corners. Word? No matter what people want to say. That's the point I'm trying to make. That if they were to conceptualize that the earth was a rounded rectangle or a rounded square, I could more easily give thought to that. Not all the way accept it, but I could give that way more thought than I could the vice versa. Because there's no concept where you have a complete bubular circle and it has edges. It doesn't exist. Once it has edges, it's no longer a circle. Once it has edges, it's no longer a sphere. That's what makes a sphere a sphere. Is that it has no true definitive shape other than the fact that it's like a bubble. Right, that's the shape. And a bubble doesn't have sides and faces. People are like, yes, it does. Okay, sure it does. That's just the rebel in them talking, I guess. Before I get up out of here in the next 5, 10 minutes, man, y'all just don't know. When you conceptualize things to yourself, don't speak them out loud, and don't allow people to challenge them, that's when you become an actual maniac. But when you allow people to challenge what you believe, and they have no real rebuttal other than the fact that someone else who looks like them, who doesn't look like you, all agree that this thing that they say that they agree on is the truth or is the fact at the time, is what it is. I'll give you guys an excellent idea. So, they say flight is achieved by there being a greater level of pressure under the wings than there is above the wings. But what about the actual body of the animal? Doesn't that matter? Yes, it does. So, do birds and flies and all animals that take flight, any animal you can think of, any creature you can think of that takes flight, do they have inner propulsion that there is no device to detect such a mechanism? Is that possible? Right. Once again, y'all, let them dig to China. Tell them. And the next time the niggas say that the earth is a circle, tell his ass dig to China. On everything. And just be calm about it. Be like, hey, bro, since the earth is a circle, man, how about you dig to China, bro, and I'll pay for the whole endeavor. Right on? How about that? You just start with a couple of spade shovels first. Then we'll get you some oxygen once you get so down low. And then we'll get you some little what they call like brackets, you know what I'm saying? Stabilizers. So that way you don't get crushed down there by accident or by chance. Oh, we'll go all the way. Man, if we have to make the stabilizers by hand so that way it's cost effective, we will. And I'll test them out. I'm like that. Talking to the right one. I have that kind of time I have on my hands. I have the tools to do it with, and I have that kind of time on my hand to invest in that sort of endeavor. This is a challenge to anybody that wants to dig to China. I mean that. And I'm not joking. That's not a lie. Right on. I'll buy the tools. You just dig on your own time. And dig and dig and dig. And then you gotta keep track of all this shit so that way I can see that you're not faking it. That's it. That's it. And I just want to see it. I want to see you dig out of your state, out of your city, out of your municipality, out of your state, into whole other states. I wants to see this shit. I wants to see it. I do. I got to see it. Since y'all are so convinced that if you just dig straight down, because it's a circle, right? I have to go to another point of the circle. So even if you ended up in Antarctica, whatever, the North Pole, whatever, it don't matter. Dig. I want to see this. People think I'm sounding crazy. It's like, no, man, I'm tired of. I'm sounding crazy, but the government spent $31.4 trillion and didn't give me the trillion that I know that I deserve. What's 1 trillion to 31.4 of them? Right. You still got another 30.4 to jack off. Coulda, woulda, shoulda. Looking a little too late. Now I want mines in rare minerals and other substances because the money's not worth a fuck. Right. Guys over here sounding retarded. Like, oh well, if the money ain't gonna be no good, you better write the check now. What? You would take a bad check? You would take a check where the money was no good as soon as you cashed it? These are the kind of people that you got thinking for y'all, that y'all believe are the new media. How can you be a new anything if you're using the same medium to convey, portray, okay, and relay your message? How is that? How is that? How could that be the case? These guys are talking like they created motherfucking computers and internet. These niggas is acting like they were the first ones to do vlogs. Right. This some of this shit is so old. It's like, dude, stop it. You're effective, but you're not new. These niggas is talking like they 23 years old and they're on the better side of 50. New media. Ain't that about a bitch? And the nigga is old as fucking pepper. You hear what I'm saying? They need to be the ones digging to China. Because them old niggas got nothing but time on their hands. Nothing but time. They need to dig their ass to China. That's what they need to do. I work for a living. I bend the knee for a living. I have plenty of brothers and sisters who understand the concept of bending the knee being that if I could do something else, truly achieve that, and know that I was going to make the financial dividend and provender to provide for myself, then I would do that. But right now, this is the option that I have. I could either do this and have nothing, I mean, do this and have a little bit, or do nothing and have absolutely nothing. And the latter is just, for me, I won't make it an option. I won't let it be an option. I'll just pursue what I need to pursue. What a blessing it is to be alive. Lost more people. You know, uncle of mine passed away, heart attack. They said he had a heart attack and bumped his head and expired. Yeah, Uncle Woody. That was at the start of the year. Didn't find out to the third, so I kind of just sat down on that. That had me down and out for a little bit. Behind all the other shit I just been dealing with, I just been just like, okay, stay calm. All this extra shit going on. I got my court stuff going on. They then finally decided to set my pretrial stuff out. March 31st is the date for the pretrial. And they are talking about sometime in May for the actual trial. We'll see what happens. You know, I thought I was going to be doing this shit before so I could go ahead and make the I fought the law video. Right on. Dot, dot, dot. Nobody wins. I don't win because the years I lost having to combat this is not a win. Right on. But their loss of perceived security in the city is not a win for me either. You get what I'm saying? So I don't clap my hands and stomp my feet over the fact that where I used to work is less safe than it used to be, and it's probably almost as dangerous as it was in the mid to late 90s. I don't pride myself on that. I just take solace in the fact that I told them how to prevent that from happening, and they went against my good judgment and my good word. Never had to fire a shot at anybody. Okay. Had to back people down. Never fired no shots at nobody. Ironically, if you already have the gun out and you're not even threatening nobody, people kind of know what it is. If you're doing all that loud mouthing and shit, niggas gonna go reach for the gun. But if you tell them straight up, you go ahead and do what you gotta do. We're gonna see what happens. Calm just like that. Right. Yeah, because nigga get their whole head pushed back. They don't understand. I'm not fucking playing with them. Right. But hey, they lost that. Now look at them. Now the animal. Once again, right. They thought the earth was a circle. I was telling them, nah, bro, we got four corners in this motherfucker, man. They said, no, we don't need you, bro. This shit is a circle. And I was like, dig to China then, motherfuckers. And they still ain't dug nowhere. That's how I feel about all these concepts when people be saying stupid ass bullshit. Nigga, dig to China. Whenever I hear somebody say, oh, satellites, it can't just be that a satellite is a drone, huh? That couldn't be the case. No. Complicated UAVs, as I said. Sophisticated, even if you wanted to say. That's all they are. They're nothing else. Prove me wrong. Right, you so smart, prove me wrong. But I didn't already I've literally looked for pictures of satellites. And most satellites are on the ground that you can see. They're not in the air like that. It's a UAV. It's a drone. Right. Here's the question I have for y'all. If those satellites are really up in space and they said that they have to be maintenanced every so how is that? How could you make something that could go to space and could float up there, don't ever have to be maintenance, almost never? To maintenance it, you'd have to fly up there. Right. You get what I'm saying? How you create that, but you can't dig to China? How the fuck does that make sense? Look, y'all, I'm telling you, it's only gonna get crazier. I've had people send me articles already about anti-vigilantes, and the most despicable, most heinous act that has taken place so far of the anti-vigilantes, and people thought he was a hero. The old white dude shot the young brother all up in his back, threw his drink on him, spit on him, shot him several more times, executed him. Now the brother had a fake gun. Now we all know that you ain't supposed to do no shit like that because that'll get you killed anyway. Cost him his life. Now, let's go ahead and really analyze that situation though. Had he shot that man, not killed him, right? Dude gets taken to jail, gets tried and all that shit. I can't really say I feel bad for bro then on that level. It would suck that you got shot, but you came up in there with something that looked like a real gun, and this person felt at harm for their life, or you made them feel some type of way because they didn't go out their way to shoot you. It's not like this dude sought you out when you was sitting on a stoop or on a porch somewhere and came up and unloaded a whole magazine on you. That's not what happened, you know. So you can't treat it like that. But all in the same token, in the same breath, you also can't act like you also can't act like it's my fault or it's just on me. You get what I'm saying? Because it's not. It's not just on one person. And we need to actualize this and realize this for what it is and not try to make something different out of it. Because a lot of times people will try to, what's the word I'm looking for? Sensationalize and and make it what it's not. But all I'm saying is that You can't tell me, yo, bro, well, this is this. And then I'm like, well, do this then. Right? You feel me? You can't say, well, oh, I can't do that because that would take too much. Well, then how the fuck do I know it's that? Right on? You're gonna tell me that pile of shit is chocolate. Okay, eat some. Oh, I'm not hungry. How convenient. Why don't you try it first? Fuck no. You're the one who said it's chocolate, nigga. Right. You see what I'm saying? That's how I feel about digging to China. I'm never gonna dig to China. Because that to me is the equivalent of eating shit. Right. Not doing that. But since once again though, if they can prove in their world that that's actually chocolate, prove it first. See, but this is the once again though, if they could really dig to China, there would be no conflicts because then the Chinese could dig to the US. You don't think the niggas would have just dug up in this bitch and popped up out of nowhere like they did thousands of years ago, straight from Middle Earth out of nowhere? Huh? You don't think if they could do that, they would have done that? Where do you think all these individuals came from? And I don't care. It's undeniable. Okay, it's indisputable. It's the truth. Beyond the fact, it's the truth because it's never changed. They've never changed their story. They said they come out the mountains, out of the caves. They said they come out of the caverns from the middle of the earth that are caves. I believe them. There's no reason not to believe them. Right. Their genosis or their genesis, excuse me, is Gentile. That's their genealogy. That's their gene structure. Okay. That's their genotype. That's what they are. They're Gentiles, meaning multiple pieces of genetic material. So they're not any one thing. But that's neither here nor there because, so again, these guys think shit is chocolate. And I'm telling them to dig to China, bro. Right. I'm like, I ain't never seen chocolate look like that. That's how I feel about the concept of being able to dig to China. That's the dumbest shit I ever heard. Right. The moon is made out of cheese. Prove it. Prove it. Fuckers talking about they landed on the moon. Go back and do it. That should be some shit they do all the time. And they don't. And don't nobody think that's weird. Don't nobody think that's weird. They let them make movies talking about Transformers, the dark side of the moon. These motherfuckers ain't vindicated shit. Right. No thing. And they use magic, witchcraft, and sorceries and enchantments to get people to imagine things that are otherwise totally fantasy. Can't prove none of that. Right. If you could dig the China, I need y'all to understand. Military operations would be so different. Guys would literally be coming out of the fucking earth with like a super mega drill machine, hopping out with Navy SEALs and commandos, shooting people to shit because they just drilled right up through their fucking living room. Dudes just hopping out, giving it to motherfuckers, clearing rooms and all that shit, taking their asses down, zip tying motherfuckers, butt stroking other people. It's going down. Right, but that's not how they get down in wars. They got to go straight at you still, or they got to try to fly a plane or a helicopter or sneak somebody in via what looks like animal cargo, or sometimes via what looks like weapons and supplies for the opposition. That's how they get into those countries a lot of the time. But let y'all know, you know. Anyhow, y'all, I got to get ready to handle some business with my people. As y'all can hear, they calling. So look, man, I love y'all. I'm part two coming extra soon, probably tomorrow before I go to work. I met y'all, man. I salute you. I salute you again, and I salute you. Let me just tell y'all this, man. Ain't nobody ever gonna do the kind of stuff that I'm doing for the people like I'm doing it now because they don't care about y'all like this. They don't love y'all like this. I really do care about y'all and I really do love y'all. And I want you to just, you don't even have to be combative. Just challenge what they're saying and challenge it with honor. You don't have to be dishonorable nor disrespectful, but you don't have to respect any man's persons all in the same breath. May tomorrow be better than today, and may your next week be better than your last.